Alright, so the episode, or I guess episodes, start off with the Joestar gang riding around Karachi right after defeating Enya. Joseph spots a kebab place and starts licking his lips. He asks the man near the stand for 5 kebabs, and the man charges him 5,000 yen. Joseph and the man start negotiating on the price, and it's just a whole lot of back and forth yap. Basically, Joseph thinks he fleeced the man by getting them for 425 yen, but the man usually sells them for 150 yen. Okay, give me just a sec. Bro? So after Joseph gets the food and starts heading back, we see that Enya woke up and immediately she starts tweaking out at the sight of the kebab vendor. All of a sudden, these freaky deaky tentacles sprout out of her entire face. It turns out that the man who sold Joseph the kebab is actually a stand user. Oh wow, I would have never seen that coming. He reveals himself as Steely Dan, one of Dio's assassins. It also turns out he planted a flesh bud made of Dio cells in Enya using his stand. As she's dying, Enya keeps telling herself that her glorious King Dio would never plant a flesh bud in her, refusing to reveal his stand ability. I mean, she's not wrong, but this glaze is immaculate, saying he's her reason for living. After seeing him in part 6 though, I kinda see where the glaze is coming from. Steely Dan then starts rage baiting, and bro, this guy Jotaro swings first and asks questions later. He doesn't even let Dan finish speaking before immediately punching him, damn near killing Joseph in the process. Dan gets up and then pays a little boy some money to hit him with a broom, further showing off his stand ability and causing Joseph to feel the impact on his leg too. Later on, that boy gets greedy and hits him again, but Steely Dan punches him, and I can't lie, bro, this look-y had me laughing. Basically how Steely Dan's stand, the Lovers, works is that he sends his microscopic stand into the brain of another person and then synchronizes the pain he receives with his stand, which then inflicts that pain on the person whose brain it's inside of. To add on, this pain is also amplified and much greater in the other person. Basically, Joseph's cooked, and oh my god, bro. Immediately after explaining his stand ability, he starts rage baiting, and this gets Jotaro fuming. He genuinely doesn't care what happens to Joseph and tries to swing on Dan not only once but twice. Luckily, Kakyung is there to stop him. Knowing he's basically invulnerable, Dan starts beating Jotaro with a rock just to set him off even more. Kakyung, Polnareff, and Joseph run off to find a way to beat Dan's stand, leaving just Jotaro and Dan alone. Joseph uses Hermit Purple to take a look into his brain, and then Kakyung and Polnareff shrink their stand so they can go into Joseph's brain and destroy the lovers inside of him. We cut back to Steely Dan, and this guy, man. He makes Jotaro turn into a bridge for him to walk across and starts messing around, stepping on his hand on purpose. He then makes him scratch his back, all the while Joseph is feeling all of this. And Joseph, like usual, is always being as loud as possible. A huge crowd forms around the other three, and they start throwing change, feeling bad because they think Joseph is senile. They end up buying the TV Joseph was using and run off somewhere with more privacy. I forgot to mention that Steely Dan also took one of Dio's flesh buds into Joseph's brain, so they're all running on a time limit. All the while Kakyung and Polnareff are fighting the lovers, Steely Dan is still on some BS. He's having Jotaro shine his shoes and then just kicks him for no reason. He forces Jotaro to rob a jewelry store and then snitches on him right after. And then he orders him not to use his stand and protect himself, and then just watches as he gets his ass beat, walking out of the jewelry with all the stuff Jotaro originally has stolen. Jotaro starts reversing the rage bait on him and tells him how excited he is to get his revenge. Eventually, Kakyung is able to use Hierophant Green to find Steely Dan's real stand out of all the copies he made inside Joseph's brain, and with the help of Joseph, they're able to get the stand out of his brain as well as destroy the flesh bud. Steely Dan recalls his stand and starts trying to buy time to get the stand into Jotaro's brain.
Please, Pete, I need this! My mom is kind of homeless. I live with my dad. I want to help her out. Speed, I'm watching the stream while you try not to laugh, bro. That's disrespectful as shit, bro.
The lovers is just about to get into Jotaro's brain, but then Jotaro catches the stand, light work, no reaction, squeezing it in between Star Platinum's fingers and breaking Dan's limbs. Now Jotaro is the one rage baiting and makes him glaze him and his stand. Jotaro tries to let him off with a broken arm and leg, but Dan is generally such a bum and uses his stand on a little girl. But what's that? Kakyung tied Hierophant Green to the lovers. Long story short, it's over. We get probably one of the best sequences in all of JoJo's, the 3-page Ora Ora. And by the end of it, you'd think, there's no way Steely Dan survived that, right? After all, he already had several broken limbs. Somehow, this guy was only retired, which in NBA terms means he's out for the season. Anyways, that's it for this video. This is my first time doing this, so let me know how I did. If there's anything specific y'all want me to cover, please let me know. Alright, see y'all.